And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com. Stop by, visit our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're on the main drag in Cheviot. They're in the Dora district, so you can walk from bar to bar with your drinks. But why would you need to do that? We can just hang out at Hail Mary's. They've got 27 TVs, a 9-screen video wall. There's not a bad seat in the house. They subscribe to every sports package that DirecTV offers. They can stream all the games, and Cincinnati sports will always be on the video wall. While you're there, make sure you get you a nice, cold Cincy Light on tap. All right, Aaron, here we go. Live from the Cincy Light studios. It is another crazy week in the Big 12. These are just, they're normal now. Every week is crazy, and there's nothing really you can do or say about it. Let's get this show on the road. It started Friday night as Arizona spanks Houston. Houston gets a big win last week. This week, not so much. Arizona controlled the entire game, and they come out of it with a 27-3 home win. Arizona picks up their second win in the Big 12 this season. One of the preseason favorites finally gets that elusive second win.
Yeah, Houston turned the ball over a lot. Zion Chris had an interception. They had 2 lost fumbles. Just a sloppy game by Houston, and you give up 224 yards passing, 113 yards rushing. Not anything spectacular, but shit, I would have done anything for 224 yards passing on Saturday. So
you'll get 66 and you'll like it.
Nope. But yeah, not a huge shock that Arizona beats Houston. Houston was winning games.
I'd say the margin was kind of surprising, the way that they've been playing better at times, but they have been kind of Jekyll and Hyde, where it seems like when they start out a little quick, like they can continue that momentum, but if they don't get out to a quick start and you get them behind the 8 ball, that team is deader than a doornail.
Yeah, it was. And it wasn't as if they didn't have much offense. 135 yards passing, not great, but better than 66.
No, that's bad.
And 191 yards rushing. So I mean, they at least had some offense going to the tune of 325.
Yeah, I mean it's a bad passing day, but they're not a great passing team to be like. We know that to begin with. That is not their strength, and if they get behind where they are,
I had that completely backwards. 135 yards rushing, 191 yards passing. Sorry.
Oh.
Completely backwards.
Yeah. Anywho. Let's spend less time talking about that game of a pair of 4 and 6 teams. The big surprise came late last night, as I don't know if there's a big surprise. I mean, BYU was only, 2.5 point favorite at kickoff. Kansas 17, BYU 13. Honestly, here, I think I'm not surprised Kansas won, because it looks like they've figured some things out over the past couple weeks. I am surprised the score was this low. If you would have told me BYU holds Kansas to 17 at home, I would have thought that's a comfortable BYU win, but BYU just couldn't really get anything going in terms of getting points on the board. They didn't have a terrible day offensively. They just didn't score.
Nope. Correct. 192 yards passing, touchdown and interception for Jake Retzlaff. On the other hand, 34 carries, 162 yards rushing for an average of 4.8. Not bad.
No, that's decent.
You had a lost fumble. You had an interception. It's not as if Kansas was without flaw, as Daniels had an interception, 169 yards, no touchdowns at all. Only 10 carries for 15 yards for him. But Devin Neal, 14 carries, 52 yards. The big thing there, though, 2 touchdowns.
Well, I think BYU had a special teams turnover as well.
They did not have much offense going on at all. But Kansas, 169 yards passing, 73 yards rushing, and that's it. Yuck.
Yeah, I mean, turnovers. I mean, the big difference here, kind of a similar sentiment to UC West Virginia last week, but BYU playing with fire finally caught them. They finally got burned, and now everything is up in the air. It feels. I mean, it feels like we're tracking towards a BYU Colorado Big 12 championship game, but I don't know, man. At Arizona State next Saturday, I think I might go with the Sun Devils, and then Houston to close out the season. I mean, BYU could very well miss the Big 12 championship game if they don't beat Arizona State next week.
Which, I mean, their fans would probably completely melt down, and all of Utah would be in an uproar about this Big 12.
I mean, well, the most hilarious thing ever is if that does happen, and Arizona State beats BYU, it would potentially set up a Colorado Arizona State Big 12 championship game. So the Utah fans would be right that the Pac-12 was coming in to take over the Big 12, just would be with Utah finishing second to last in the conference. Unreal. Which would be categorically hilarious. Yeah, I mean, good for Kansas. Arizona State 24-14 over Kansas State. Arizona State jumped out 21-0 early. This game was never in doubt. Arizona State controlled it from the start. We had it on the TV right next to me at the Grail. So like UC was on the big screen, and then the TV right next to our table was Arizona State, Kansas State. And I, keeping an eye on it because UC plays Kansas State at 8:00 next Saturday or this Saturday.
Right.
Kansas State looked bad. They did not look good at all in this game.
Yeah, not super surprised. Am I? Kansas State has kind of been. You mentioned that BYU has been flirting with disaster. I don't feel like Kansas State has really done anything other than winning games, which at the end of the day, that's all you need to do. I get it, but at 7-3, they were not ever like a juggernaut of a 7-3 team.
No,
they were. Not like Colorado. Colorado's, you know what I mean? Like those two teams feel very different.
Well, Kansas State started hot, and then it's kind of
trended down.
And Colorado started cold and has taken a much different course here over the past couple of weeks, for sure.
Well, and you continue to talk about how Sam Leavitt. We're all happy that Cincinnati played Arizona State without Sam Leavitt. He goes 275, 3 touchdowns, 21 of 34. Great day for him. Had 5 carries for 42 yards on the ground. And that was all definitely enough to beat Kansas State. Avery Johnson, 258 yards, 24 of 40. 2 picks, no touchdowns. 6 carries, 21 yards. He did score on the ground. DJ Giddens had a better day than Avery Johnson. 14 carries, 133 yards. But again, just I don't know what it is about Kansas State, but it's just never felt like a good team to me. And I know Cincinnati is they're spiraling right now, and I still don't hate their chances against Kansas State next week.
Yeah. The Tyson kid for Arizona State, 12 catches, 176 yards, two touchdowns.
Goodness gracious. Jordan Tyson.
It's nice to see that some teams can locate their best player and force feed him the football.
He's only a sophomore. My goodness.
Yeah. Retzlaff's young too. Let's keep it moving. Colorado. Utah was no match. 49-24. Shadur was really good. Travis Hunter is stupid. He made a couple just video game. The one catch, he goes up over 2 defenders, snatches it out of the air while he's falling down, legs everywhere. But the absurd one was the end around where he ran 15 yards backwards. It looked like an old Michael Vick play. Remember where Vick used to do that? He'd run straight back and give himself a chance to
scan the field, find his hole.
And then, off he went. That's what Travis Hunter did. He is It's so damn good. I think they're going to get into the playoff unless something crazy happens. He's going to be so fun to watch. Potentially against like the number 2 team in the country, because they'll probably be the 4 seed, and then you'll get to see them against one of the better teams in the bracket.
Also worth mentioning, Utah was playing with its third string quarterback as Isaac Wilson gets to start here, a freshman, 21 of 40, 236, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Just they had Utah rushed the ball 30 times for 31 yards. Jeez. Never gave up. Never gave up.
Baylor dominates West Virginia 49-35. West Virginia gets a touchdown late to make it look a little bit more respectable. Surprise, surprise, Baylor threw all over West Virginia's defense. Just video game numbers. And West Virginia wasn't any good at stopping the pass. I know that's hard to believe.
I would have never guessed that Baylor would be bowl eligible at this point in the season. I thought Dave Aranda's job was good as gone, and here we are. Baylor now finds themselves bowl eligible, 6-4. Sawyer Robertson, 26 of 36, 329, 3 touchdowns, and Bryson Washington, 18 carries, 123 yards, 3 touchdowns. They score in bunches when they figure out they want to play offense.
Yep. And I believe Baylor announced Aranda will be back next year today.
You can't fire him at this point. He turned it around somehow, some way with the same team. He turned it around. Yeah. Well done.
So there you go. That is the world of Big 12 football.
Real quick, I did want to say the standings updates. BYU and Colorado tied at 6-1. Arizona State and Iowa State tied at 5-2. Baylor, Kansas State, TCU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia all tied at 4-3. Cincinnati, Kansas, Houston tied at 3-4. UCF and Arizona at 2-5. Utah at 1-6, and Oklahoma State still defeated, 0-7.
Defeated. Just defeated. Wasn't a great day on Friday for the Big 12 in basketball as Wisconsin beats Arizona 103-88. Michigan beats TCU 76-64. And Pittsburgh dominates West Virginia 86-62. So those were the major games since the last time we talked. Doesn't really look like we've got anything coming up this week.
Utah lost today.
Of note. Yeah, Utah did lose today to Mississippi State.
Yep.
So, biggest game I can see coming up over the next week is Thursday, Baylor and St. John's in the Bahamas. But other than that, pretty calm week on the Big 12 basketball front. So,
you think FAU could mess around with Oklahoma State? I know they've lost twice, but they're 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, if Dusty May was still there, maybe. I don't think that's the same FAU program that we've seen the previous 2 seasons. So,
yeah.
But Oklahoma State's not good. So
things get a bit more interesting for the conference on Friday.
Yeah. You know who's pretty good is Arizona State, who was predicted towards the bottom. I've watched them a couple times now, and Bobby Hurley's baby brother, or Danny Hurley's baby brother Bobby, looks like he might have a decent team on his hands. They got some youth. Jaden Quaintance is really good, who was a guy that UC recruited for a while. But just another Big 12 team to add to the middle of the pack that if you don't bring your A game, now Arizona State's also on that list of teams that could get you.
If they can turn it around against St. Thomas, Minnesota, who they are currently losing to by 4.
Yeah. They've had a couple big games. They're in that okay, this one's going to be easy like trap scenario with a young team, but I think I've seen enough from them. I think over the couple games I've watched that they should be decent. I'm not saying they're going to be a tournament team or they're going to be good, like like a top 25 type team. But what I'm saying is just another team in that middle to bottom of the Big 12 that's not going to be easy to just push around. Might just be Colorado and Utah. Poor Manson boys. Not very good. Not very good. All right, it's going to wrap it up. Aaron, I will see you tomorrow night on the BBP, my friend.
Can't wait.
That is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, right here, live from the Cincy Light Studios on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!